The LGBTQFrog agenda. Welcome to Truth Duel Official. In this video, you learn about chemicals in the water turning the friggin' frogs gay. You want to stick around till the end of this video to learn why the father fish in Finding Nemo should have been transgender. But first, I am your host, Misinformation. If you like this channel, make sure to subscribe to receive more great biology facts, misinformation analysis, and other sentiments and ramblings that please and amuse us. And become a truth dueler. Because only you can slay misinformation at its source. Get our app on truthduel.com. If you haven't heard of Alex Jones, then you likely haven't been online since MySpace was popular. But if you have, then chances are that you've heard this.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Our Truth Duel investigative reporters would never shy away from asking the hard-hitting questions in journalism, such as, what are the chemicals being put in the water? And are the frogs really gay? Funnily enough, calling the frogs gay isn't entirely accurate. The frogs are actually transgender. In a 2010 study done at the University of California, Berkeley, scientists discovered something strange. There were frogs that acted like females but were genetically male. These frogs looked like females, behaved like females, and were even able to have babies with male frogs. Normally, scientists wouldn't be bothered by this until they discovered a problem. Since these female frogs were genetically male and they were having babies with other genetic males, that meant that all the tadpoles produced were also male.
We later showed that some of these animals grow up, even though they're genetic males, to become completely functioning reproductive females, even though they were genetic males. We showed that in other species, the gonads look like this. So those are the testes on the top, and all of that junk in the trunk on the bottom, those are all eggs that are bursting through the surface of this male's testis.
Soon, scientists became worried about how the frog population would survive if there weren't any genetic females. The frog population could have trouble reproducing if the sex ratio became heavily skewed. Competition for mates increases, and the number of offspring born cannot replace those dying. We may even see the rise of incel frogs. This problem is also difficult for scientists to detect, since it appears the frogs are reproducing as normal, but their genetics are secretly shifting. However, scientists found a potential culprit for this sex shift: atrazine. Atrazine is a herbicide used to control weeds just about everywhere weeds can be found, including backyards, athletic fields, gardens, and agricultural fields. In frogs, atrazine has the unintended side effect of being a hormone disruptor. It can decrease amphibian fertility to as low as 10%, and it switches the sex of frogs about 10% of the time. You may be wondering, does atrazine also turn humans gay? Well, considering that atrazine can be found in water, and every gay human drinks water, our Truth Duel investigative reporters have concluded that it's actually water that's turning people gay. Since human gender and sexuality is far more complicated than frogs, scientists haven't found any connection between atrazine and homosexuality in humans to date. However, atrazine may have an effect on human pregnancies. Fetuses exposed to atrazine have a lower birth weight, and they have a higher chance of developing birth defects in their skulls. It's not just frogs that are going gay because of human activities either. Other animals are also coping with human interference by adjusting their mating preferences. One example of this is the albatross. Albatrosses are gigantic seabirds with wingspans as long as 11 feet or 3.35 meters. They also live long lives, up to 50 years, and they are monogamous. They pick one other bird to mate with until death do them part, but they're running into a problem. The female albatross has hunting grounds farther north than the males. They hunt in colder Arctic water where a lot of industrial fishing happens. However, they are accidentally caught in nets, which kills a large number of them. As a result of this, there are 3 male albatrosses for every 1 female albatross. Understandably, a life of loneliness is very depressing to these monogamous birds. However, they don't become incels like humans, and they don't change their sex like frogs. They take a note out of the Spartans' playbook and enter a homosexual relationship. Since there are so many male birds, they've begun to pair up with each other. They do everything an albatross couple would typically do. They dance for each other, they preen each other's feathers, and they build a nest together.
But he's caught the eye of another albatross. Once again, he begins his courtship display. But this is, in fact, another male. Regardless, he continues to demonstrate his eligibility. This could still be the one with whom he will share the rest of his life.
And albatrosses aren't the only seabirds building love nests together. One of the most famous gay bird couples was Roy and Silo, a pair of chin-strap penguins who live in New York City's Central Park Zoo. Zookeepers observed the birds trying to hatch a rock in their nest together. Now, not to alarm you viewers, but you may not know that rocks typically don't hatch into baby penguins. Typically. So zookeepers took pity on them and gave them an egg to hatch, completing their family.
Central Park Zoo had two chin-strap penguins named Roy and Silo that were together for over 7 years. The couple was regularly seen performing mating rituals and even attempted to hatch a rock as though it was an egg. Eventually, zookeepers let the pair hatch and raise a chick named Tango, who is also gay. In fact, there are so many cases of gay pairings that San Francisco wanted to build a zoo for gay animals back in 2011.
Now, don't be mistaken into thinking animals are only queer because of human interference. Life has existed long before we stood up on two legs. And it will continue to exist long after we've kicked the bucket with one of those legs. Nature has created a lot of queer animals, or queer things that aren't even animals, such as fungi who have over 17,000 sexes. Setting your preferences on mushroom Tinder is definitely a headache. Certain animals change their sex when it's beneficial to them. For example, reed frogs change their sex from female to male without any atrazine in their system. They do this for a few reasons. Frogs may change sex when there are few males available to breed with. A female frog may also change to a male if that frog becomes large enough in size. Since a frog may have better reproductive success as a large male than as a large female. There are other species that also change from female to male, such as isopods or the bluehead wrasfish. For other species, being a bigger female is more advantageous, like in certain prawn and limpet species. In a group of clownfish, if the dominant female dies, then the dominant male switches sex to become the new dominant female. Yes, you heard me correctly. Nemo's dad in Finding Nemo should have been his mom. Clearly, it wasn't in Disney's budget to consult any biologists.
Hello, my name is Marlin. I'm a clownfish.
Misinformation, you sigh. I know animals can change sex. I'm bored. Show me something really weird. Alright, let me introduce you to a species of Brazilian cave lice called Neotrogla curvata. If you were to observe these lice mating, then you should perhaps give them some privacy. But if you didn't, then you would see one animal mounting the other. However, the one on top is actually the female, who penetrates the male. And she doesn't need to buy a harness from some sketchy sex store on the side of the highway. In this species, the females have the penetrative organ, and the males have the receptive organ. This genital reversal has evolved multiple times in caves, leading scientists to speculate that an aggressive female may help these species adapt to the harsh environment. Could atrazine also help species adapt, or is it harmful over time? And what are the long-term effects of atrazine in humans that we don't currently understand? Misinformation wishes you well and reminds you to change your water filter just in case. P.S. Atrazine isn't the only herbicide we use. What other chemicals are leaking into our soil? Until next time, Make sure to like our video, subscribe to our channel, and become a truth doula, or else you'll be reincarnated as a Brazilian cave louse.
I'm gay.